Good morning. So we'll start with session 10, the last session on the chapter Heredity and Evolution. In our previous chapter, we understood about evolution and how evolution and classification are interlinked with each other. We also understood about the evidences of the evolution by morphological method and by study of fossils. So morphological method or morphology gives us the exact idea or the study of structures and functions of a particular organ. So how are they related or they are grouped onto a similar species. Wherein the fossils will give us the idea how old are the fossils, or basically fossils are nothing but the remains or the impressions of the dead of plants and animals. So it gives us how old is the fossil, what are the different types of fossils found. Now based on that we can also estimate the age of the fossils. Now how do we do that? We do that by two methods, that is relative method and carbon dating method. Now the meaning of relative method is by comparing. Relative means we are comparing it to one another. How do we do this? In relative method, we dig deep inside the earth's crust, not exactly we. One who studies about this, they dig deep inside the earth crust to find the fossil. Now the deeper the fossil found is the deeper is the, or that is the approximate age of the particular fossil. So what they do here is, whatever they get remains or impressions of these plants or animals, they start comparing it with one another. One another in the sense, assume that at one particular layer we found some impression, and as we go much deeper and deeper, we found some other impressions. So we compare the impression what we have got to much deeper and what we have got earlier. So that gives us the relative comparison of the age of the fossil. So the next is, deeper the fossil found is the oldest fossil what we consider that. Next is carbon dating method. So in carbon dating method, we use a carbon isotope. Now what is an isotope? Atoms having different mass number but atoms having same mass number but different atomic number are called as isotopes. So we've studied about isotopes of carbon, isotopes of hydrogen, etc. Right? So we have carbon 12, carbon 14, right? So this is what, when we talk about, they have a same mass number but different atomic number. Carbon 14 isotope is used in carbon dating, which is nothing but it is used to estimate or find the age of the fossils. We will not go much in depth about carbon dating nor about relative method, but let us only understand these are the two methods how we can estimate the age of the fossils. Now next we will move on to that is evolution by stages. Now when we talk about evolution by stages, it is not that as the organism which was there at one point of time, or we can say right from a unicellular organism to it has evolved from a multicellular organism. We cannot say that multicellular organism has possessed all the properties or features or the best one, right? So each organism in their level have done the best to evolve from whatever possible ways. For example, if I have to talk about there are so many bacteria, right? These bacteria are able to survive in all the type of given condition. They can also survive in the hottest region to a coldest region, correct? They are able to survive in them. But when it comes to human beings, it is not possible. That is one thing. So evolution means it is not a progress, right? That we have to keep in our mind. It is just evolving from one species to another in generation or change in that variation. Now for example, if you take about our eyesight, we humans do not have the best eyesight as other animals have, correct? So each organism have one or the other way organs, or they are developed in that particular manner. But how are these organs developed? From where have these organs developed? We will understand that in evolution by stages. Now when we talk about fitness advantage and we talk about functional advantage. Under fitness advantage, we understand about evolution of eyes. So when we talk about evolution of eyes, let us consider planaria or a flat worm for the eyes. So this is the structure of planaria. Right? So planaria has eyes like this, what we can see, but these are not fully developed eyes. What we can tell here is flatworms or planaria have rudimentary eyes. What do you mean by rudimentary? Rudimentary is something which is not completely developed, but it actually processes or it actually exists there. That means the eyes of planaria are used only to sense the light. Right? It can only sense the light, but it cannot see or nor do any other activities with these eyes. Right? So planaria had rudimentary eyes. Then when we talk about insects, they have compound eyes. Now what are compound eyes? Eyes which are there on either side of the head. Now we humans have binocular eyes. Now what do you mean by binocular? We can focus at a single object through a vision, right? So this is how evolution of eye might have taken place. Right from planaria, where the eye was not developed, eyesight was not developed, which had a rudimentary sight, then to an animal, insect, and then to a human being, right? This way the eyes might have been evolved from one generation to another by different DNA or different variation process. Next, functional advantage. When we talk about feathers, it is believed that dinosaur also had feathers. But dinosaur's body was so heavy that it could not fly with the feathers because the feathers could not take the weight of the dinosaur's body, right? It did not come into use. But very later, it is what we can say here is the later evolution process, birds made use of these feathers for flight, right? So even when during the fossils formation or in the study of fossils, we also find that Archaeopteryx, that is nothing but these all birds, dinosaurs or anything, these all might have evolved from reptiles because they again had a common ancestor. So that is how feathers might have evolved. Now birds are using these feathers for their flight. So they are made so light enough, it can carry the bird's body weight. So this is evolution by stages. So evolution by stages is not the progress, but it has evolved from one single organism to another. So next small part in this evolution part, we study about molecular phylogeny. What is molecular phylogeny or phylogeny, what we talk about? Phylogeny is the evolutionary history of related group of organisms. Quite difficult to understand. We will only understand the meaning of phylogeny in this chapter. Will not go much in depth about this. So what we study in phylogeny is, we study about the common species or we study about the DNA in the species. Now for example, if I have to compare about a human and a dog, when I compare the DNA of a human and a dog, there are many differences what we find, right? But when I compare the DNA of a humans and monkeys or humans and chimpanzees or chimpanzees and monkeys, I find there are some common DNAs or they are mostly matching, not fully, but they are quite closely matching. So that is something about molecular phylogeny. We only understand what is molecular phylogeny in this chapter, because when we study about evolution, we need to know also about molecular phylogeny. At the last, we will conclude this session by understanding human evolution. We have all understood about how animals, plants or other organisms existed or they have evolved, but we haven't discussed anything about humans. So we all should know that we have not arrived or we do not have monkeys or chimpanzees as our ancestors, but monkeys, chimpanzees, orangutans, all and we humans, we all have a common ancestors. We all have arrived from one common ancestor. And where did the first human evolve? First human being was found in Africa. Generation back, millions of years back, there was a first human being found in Africa. So then again, as the population started growing there, what happened? The man in Africa started wandering to different places in search of food and shelter. He started going to Philippines, Australia, different islands in search of food and shelter. Some again came back to the Africa itself, got mixed with the same people. Some deviated to different places, and that is what we all are today. So we complete or we conclude the chapter heredity and evolution here. So this chapter is, I do not say this is very easy chapter, a quite difficult chapter wherein you have to watch the videos again and again each session so that you will understand the concept of this lesson very well. So in today's class, if you have any doubt, you can call on the same day of the video sent.